Have you ever had something important to do, but you kept delaying it again and again? You tell yourself you'll start later, but somehow later never comes. What if the real problem isn't motivation at all, but the size of the task? There's a simple psychological trick called the 2-minute rule that can make starting almost effortless. And once you understand how it works, your brain finds it much harder to resist. Most people think productivity comes from motivation. They believe they need to feel ready before they start something important. But psychology shows something surprising. Motivation usually comes after you start, not before. The biggest obstacle isn't the task itself, it's the moment right before starting. That small moment is where most procrastination happens, and the 2-minute rule is designed to break through it. First, your brain dislikes big tasks. When your mind sees something large, like writing a report, studying for an exam, or cleaning your entire room, it immediately feels overwhelming. And when something feels overwhelming, your brain searches for an easier alternative. Checking your phone, watching videos, scrolling social media, not because you're lazy, but because your brain wants to avoid effort. But when a task feels tiny, your brain stops resisting. Second, starting creates momentum. There's something interesting about human psychology. Once you begin a task, your brain often wants to continue. Think about watching a TV series. Starting one episode feels easy, but suddenly you've watched 3. The same thing happens with productivity. Once you start studying, writing, or exercising, your brain slowly shifts into focus mode, and continuing becomes much easier than starting. That's where the 2-minute rule comes in. The idea is simple. When you want to build a habit, make the first step take less than 2 minutes. Instead of saying, I'll study for 2 hours, say, I'll study for 2 minutes. Instead of saying, I'll exercise for an hour, just say, I'll put on my workout shoes. These actions are so small, your brain has almost no reason to resist. And once you begin, continuing becomes much easier. The real power of the 2-minute rule is that it makes starting incredibly easy. Open the book. Write 1 sentence. Do 1 push-up. That's all. Most of the time, once you begin, you'll keep going. But even if you stop after 2 minutes, it's still a small win. And small wins repeated every day slowly build powerful habits. So if you've been struggling with procrastination, try this simple rule. Don't focus on finishing the task. Just focus on starting for 2 minutes. Because once your brain gets moving, it's much harder to stop. And if you enjoy learning about psychology, habits, and focus, subscribe for more videos like this.